Get ready to have your mind blown. Mind blown? Mind blown. I have a hack that has been hiding in plain sight this entire time that is just utterly, totally, and completely genius. Plus, your questions answered live on a Friday morning now that spring has sprung. Allow me to get things set up here to let you know that in addition to ranting a little bit, I think Nick's going to join me in a minute. We are going to be taking your questions as well. But something occurred to me recently. You know, we've as a company at Art Storefronts, we've offered merch for quite some time, right? We've had a merch partner for, I don't know, maybe a year and a half, maybe even 2 years. God, time flies. Maybe it's 3 years. And a thing that I thought about recently, like, you know, why this is such a genius hack that's been hiding in plain sight, is I want everyone, okay, that has an iPhone, and let me get this up on the screen, okay? If you have an iPhone, I want you to scroll down from the top and I want you to search for screen time, okay? And what screen time on Apple does is it shows you how much time you're spending on the phone. And if you scroll down, or hold on, I got to get into the right report here. Screen time, where did it go? Oh, of course, I just lost it. Here it is, screen time. Okay. And if I click on the daily average here, see all activity, what it'll give me, okay, is it'll give me the total number of pickups. Now, on my phone here, this demo phone, it's not going to show any pickups because this thing's like mounted to a tripod sitting here. But on my other phone, okay, on screen time, do you know how many times I pick up the phone on a daily basis? I looked because I was very curious to see what it was going to say. And usually on a given day, I'm picking up my phone anywhere from 110 times to 150 times per day. If you looked at your numbers, what would your numbers say on how many times per day you are picking up your phone and looking at it? My guess is it's a lot. I think the average is like well over 100 for most of us. So that's 100 times a day we are picking our phone up and looking at it. 100 times a day we are picking it up and looking at this thing. And when you realize that, and you zoom out for a second, one, you realize we're all addicted to our phones, and that's a problem. But secondarily, the phone, okay, might be the most valuable advertising resource that exists on the planet. There is not a single solitary thing that any of us look at more in a single solitary day than our phone. Okay. That is just fact. And it's for everybody. When you think about that for a second, you're like, wait a minute. How can I get my art on somebody's phone, on the most valuable real estate that exists on the planet right now in terms of impressions per day, right? Like if I could get my art on a phone that gets picked up 100 times a day, no matter where the person is, no matter what state, traveling, working in this country, in another country, that probably makes a ton of sense. And then you realize that this piece of merch, okay, that this simple piece of merch represents the single solitary greatest advertising coup that could exist for an artist or a photographer in today's day and age. This is our Super Bowl ad. This is more important than a Super Bowl ad. If you ran an ad on the Super Bowl, yes, you would reach millions of people, but you'd only reach them once. With this, we can reach people 100 times a day, 100 times a day, every day. That is honestly like one of the most profound discoveries I've made or epiphanies I've had in quite some time. Like I now view this piece of merch, okay, a phone case, as the single solitary most important thing an artist or a photographer can sell. And I'm not kidding when I say that, because the reality is that if you start offering your art, your photography on a cell phone case, okay, that people will put on their phone, there is no better way to get what we call the effective frequency up of your art, your photography with a prospective buyer. Also understand what merch represents. Merch represents a almost zero commitment, low commitment. Don't have to measure my wall. Don't have to talk to my spouse. Don't have to do any of the above on a whim. If I'm feeling good on a Friday and you're like, guess what, guys? cell phone cases in my store right now. If you went live on Instagram right now, if you made an Instagram reel, an Instagram post, an Instagram story, and an Instagram live and emailed your list and said, guys, my phone cases are awesome. I want you to have one. It's buy one, get one free. And you just did that today. And you sold, say, 10, 15, 20, 30 cell phone cases. That's 10, 15, 20, 30 cell phone cases of new customers that you've acquired for your business, i.e., you now have an email address such that you can market to folks in the future. And your art is now on the most valuable piece of real estate that exists. That's insane. And I realized that I have not been pushing that anywhere near hard enough. I am going to start pushing it all the time because it's the most incredible advertising you can do. It is the lowest friction, lowest commitment thing you can do. And the dirty little secret is you can directly track wealth in this country based on type of cell phone someone has. I wish that were not the case, but what do I care if it's a case or it's not? But just by having like the main Apple iPhones knocked out that you have your art on, you've done it. You've done it. And I actually think that in addition to having the art on it, I might even have my customers start signing, putting digital signatures on this or branding on this so that you can see it. I might even contemplate starting to do sets where you could get like 5 or 6 of them in a bundle. Okay. Because if you had a bundle of these, especially for like the fashionistas amongst us, where someone could alternate the colors and you started showing these things like properly merchandised with different outfits and different handbags on the ladies' case and, you know, different suits, different outfits on the guys' case, assuming they're super fashionista. Let's be honest, I would never buy more than one because I just need one. But I believe that there is no more valuable real estate than this. Of course, I would love to get it on the front side of the phone, your art, but I'll take the back all day, every day, day in, day out. Just understand that type of exposure for your art or your photography. I think it is one of the most significant things that we could possibly be doing in terms of marketing. And to be honest with you, now I'm ready to start making art storefronts cases. Like, I can't believe I didn't come to terms with that, right? Like all day long, I talk about and I try to teach you guys how to get on this side of the phone when what I didn't realize is this side is just as valuable. Okay. This side of the phone, if you can get on this side of the phone, okay, you're on that side of the phone, regardless of what app they're in, right? Like all day long, I'm teaching you guys how to get better on Instagram, how to get better on Facebook. And the reality is that with a combination of the two, you can get on this side of the phone and this side of the phone. Absolutely insane. Absolutely insane thing to contemplate. Okay. So, you know, if you're an art storefronts customer in Autumn, you know, the quality of the cases are relevant. These cases are totally fine. Most people just go and buy a cell phone at the Apple store or AT&T or Verizon or T-Mobile or whatever, and they just take whatever case is on the shelf. Most people anyway. But the reality is that like it is something. If I am following you as a creative, okay, as an artist or as a photographer, and I like what you're doing, but I'm not ready to buy wall art, and yet I can reward your creativity, okay, and saying, hey, I support you. I'm just not ready to buy any wall art right now. And I can get one of these. Okay. My goodness. My goodness. It really just, it completely flips everything on its head. Okay. Because if you guys scroll through your Instagram feed, right? And let's just say whenever you decide to do it, do you notice what the majority of the ads are that come up on Instagram when you're scrolling through? They are for low commitment, low friction buys. Like that's the advertising that works on Instagram right now. It is for like items usually that are, you know, a couple $100s or less. Of course, when I try to show this, I don't see any ads except for us because, you know, it's the way this phone is set up. But if I was in my personal Instagram account, you notice all of the ads are for like these small, low dollar commitment, kitschy, tchotchke type of items, right? Like you know, get a pair of pants that is waterproof, right? Or get a flashlight, or get a golf club, or you know, it's lower ticket, lower friction items. Because when we're on Instagram and passively just browsing, we might buy something, but we're not going to buy something that's thousands of dollars. That's going to take a ton of research, right? You know, think a high-end piece of art. But if we focus, you guys, if we focus on these low commitment, easy buys, the whole ball game changes. And I sit here and I contemplate artist A and artist B. Artist A doesn't think they need to offer merch. Artist A doesn't think they need to have items in their lineup that are sub $100, right? And what ends up happening when you do that? The number of customers that you acquire per year is probably 5 to 7 to 10. Okay. You start selling these things, and the next thing you know, you have the ability to sell 30 or 40 or 50 or 60 things in a month. That is not outside the realm of possibility. If you're doing an in-person fair or show, you have the ability to acquire 50 or 60 or 70 customers. Well, there's only so many ways you can grow an art business. Okay. There's only three. Number one, acquire new customers. Number two, increase the AOV, average order value. Easiest way to think about that is just raise your prices. And the third way is to get repeat customers to come back and purchase again. What they don't ever teach you is the easiest customer to get, okay, is the one that you already have. The easiest customer to get is the one that you already have. So the maths, okay, the maths of business say, if you, creative, can sell me one of these things with your art on it, I am way more likely, okay, to come back and purchase again. And it is way easier to get me to come back and purchase again than it would be for you to go out and acquire a customer for the first time. So this is it, guys. I honestly believe every single solitaire creative needs to be offering these things immediately. I don't think there is a better piece of merchandise that exists, period, than this. Okay. I love the photo books. I love the coffee table books. I love a number of the other items, but this gets picked up 100 times a day on average by almost every human being on this planet. Contemplate that. That is so profoundly powerful. And if you start selling these things, and instead of in a given year, you acquiring 10 or 15 customers, and you all of a sudden go to acquiring hundreds of customers, in year two, some portion of those hundreds of customers are going to come back and buy wall art. They're going to buy the piece that corresponds with the cell phone case because they've been seeing it every single solitary day. You know, in marketing, there is this notion of effective frequency. It's a fancy term that says there is some sort of magical number, okay? A number of times that a potential buyer needs to be exposed to your art before they make a purchase decision. At the low end, I've heard the number being 7. At the high end, I've heard the number being 100. But the point is that no one sees your art, your creations for the first time and purchases. Okay. They need to be exposed to that art, to that brand, to you, 7 to 10 to 15 to 20 times. With this, you have the possibility of getting 100 times a day, every single solitary day. Every single solitary day. I mean, are you guys tracking with me on this? Just how profound this is? And I haven't been pushing this in the slightest, and I need to. I need to. Manda Paint, we offer them if you're a customer. If not, you can Google how to get them. If you can't get them POD, meaning print on demand, you might have to put some into inventory. But look, like most of the high net worth individuals in this country, you guys, okay, they all have the 4 newest versions of the iPhone in the various different sizes. That's it. That's really all you need to get. And I don't mean to be critical of Android folks. All right. I love Android, but net worth is directly correlated to Apple devices. So, all right. I got to get my have a question banner. Have a question. Ask via a comment. Let me just get this up and pin this because I also want to answer any and all questions you guys have on a Friday morning. Of course, right when I go to do this, my computer starts having a meltdown. Hold on. Okay, come back. But any questions you guys have, I'm answering for the next hour or so. So if you are stuck with something, you have questions about really just anything. I love answering any and all questions. So that is the jam. That is the game plan here. And Instagram on my computer here is melting down. I know it's a fact that people don't buy one phone case. My daughter-in-law buys them for the art, right? She must buy a new one almost every month and always attracts my attention immediately. Like exactly, like what if we started taking these things and putting them in series? Instead of one, you buy 10, right? And it's one or like 12, a new one every month. You can have the new cell phone case every single solitary month. Like there are so many creative ways to bundle this. And you know what else I would probably do if I was an artist or a photographer or creative? I would come up. Let's just stick on my monthly bundle scenario. Okay, I would probably, all right, I would probably offer an entire year of cell phone cases. Okay, so they can have a different one each year, and then I would also offer as a part of the sale to send them perfectly formatted images for the background. 12 and 12. Imagine a bundle like that. Like, who wouldn't jump on that? Like, that is insane to me. Everybody would jump on that. I mean, even me, like, you know, I ride motorcycles and bikes of all kinds. So I have to have like this case that locks in. So I'm not a good use case. But for everyone else, I mean, the fact that I could change these things out once a month, like, what if you even did like a subscription service where once a month, you know, you send them a brand new case, right? And then in addition to that, 10 brand new images for the front of the screen. Like, you just format your art for that size, right? That is insane. That is a profundity. Okay. It represents, honestly, one of the most significant pieces of merch you could sell. Okay. And Mary Jean, no, I do not believe that you should put a QR code, because you know how they scan QR. Well, you could actually. You could probably put one small down below. Nick, I'm still on this like cell phone case profundity. Like, I audited my screen time report and then I did some Googling on it. Do you know that the average person picks up their cell phone 100 times a day?
It's embarrassing to say, you know.
It's embarrassing to say, but
true.
I am now saying that this, okay, is the artist's Super Bowl ad.
It very well might be, because I mean, have you ever seen a friend that has a case with like art on it, like an artistic case?
Not really.
I have, and it catches your eye. It's kind of stops you in your tracks, because you're with a friend, you know, or somebody you're doing business with or whatever, and they're sitting across the table. You might be having lunch or coffee or whatever it is. It stands out. It totally stands out, and you kind of look at it and you're like, you know, you can't help but ask about it, because that person has chosen to put that on their phone. It's almost like they're making a statement a little bit, you know, and going back to, you know, the whole concept of like an art sale is like 50% the imagery itself and the 50% you and the connection that the person has with you. What do you think you hear from that person when you ask them about the you know, oh, that's an awesome photograph, or that's an awesome, you know, painting on there. Do you know the artist? Or like, what's your, you know, why'd you put that on there? And like the story comes out, and the story is, it's not just like, oh yeah, I just like this and that was it. You know, it's like, no. There's a story. Oh, you know, I love this artist because of X, Y, and Z, you know, and this piece just resonated with me, and I put it on my phone. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, you missed. I've been going on this for like 15 minutes now, but extemporaneously, of course. But like, what's to stop somebody, okay, from starting to do bundles, or maybe even do a year subscription where you get a new one each and every month, okay? And not only do you get the new back case, or maybe even a couple of them, what if you also, Nick, formatted your art into a digital format and you delivered the screensavers? So now you've got a screensaver like in a series, right? Like 3 or 4 different screensaver images plus the back image, and you're just dropping that off every single solitary month. Then you're on the front and the back of the most interacted with device that exists in every single solitary human being's hand. This is a profundity here. We've got to double down on this. What if for women, you tailored a number of different colors out of your collection such that they could swap these things out to match handbags, to match outfits? Like, there's a lot of merchandising we have been solely missing, but the 100 times a day, there is no better single solitary location to get your stuff in front of. I mean,
also kind of a cool throw-in, you know, like somebody's going to buy a print from you or an original, and you just throw it in for free, you know? I'll throw one in, because it's like that person's already committed. They're already like bought into you, and they like you. They're going to put a piece on the wall, you know?
Yeah. By the way, you guys, we all get Facebook spam. I put this one up because it's like, great company, great investors. It's only when a company serves her investors with truthfulness and reliability that may produce great investors. This is like one of these like spammy Forex comments. It looks like, oh,
yeah,
anywhere around the world.
Sometimes it makes you want, it's like, you know, Facebook and Instagram, like they've got to get their act together sometimes with these comments. It's crazy.
Yeah. Anyway, I am now going to harass and harangue every single solitary person on Instagram every single solitary day, okay, until you guys all start offering phone cases. And by the way, if you sign up with us, you're offering them day one because it's just that easy. And I said, Nick, the dirty little secret that, needs to be said, iPhones directly map to household income.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, they do. Right.
Generally speaking. Yep.
So, my point in that is like, you really only need 4 or 5 models of the iPhone in the various different sizes that we offer, and you have 90% of the high net worth population covered.
Yeah.
So, there you go.
That's right.
Okay. So we are answering questions live. Have a question, ask. I got to pin this. We are answering live. All right, I'm going to post that. So we want to help you guys.
We should say, I mean, first of all, happy Friday, right? And what are we? We are 7 days away from the spring art selling rush starting. Woo! Here we go, baby.
Oh, it's
guys, if you don't know, the spring art selling season for artists, like this is a big time. You got Easter, Mother's Day, Father's Day. You got a bunch of little other days to be able to take advantage of in there. Like this is just a high action time.
Yeah.
Great time to get started, great time to like make a change in your business if you're looking for it. Like we always say this and we have to repeat it over and over and over again. You might be thinking your problem is how to price your art, or you don't have a specific, fulfillment item or something like that. But let us tell you, and confirm that if you are not in the game during the biggest art selling times a year, you have no other problem to solve in your business except for that. That is it.
Yep.
When the buyers are coming out and they are, pulling out their wallets and the marketing just makes sense, right? Because everyone's promoting like Easter and Mother's Day and all of that. So you get the opening, the freedom to be able to market right along with that, send those emails, make those posts and all that stuff. And you water ski behind it and you take advantage of the whole situation. It's a great time to like validate whether your subject matter is resonating. It's a great time to make sales. It's just everything. Like you just have to be in the game, Yeah. And if you're not in the game, what are you working on? That's the most important thing. It's what are you working on? And like, Charlie Munger, who is Warren Buffett's business partner, and Warren Buffett actually credits him as like the brains behind the operation of
recently deceased, rest in peace, by the way.
Yeah, the late Charlie Munger, right? And he, Warren Buffett puts him as like the brains behind the operation and all of that stuff. And Charlie Munger, just some of the smartest mental heuristics that he provides. And one of them is just this concept of inversion, just inverting a problem and just flipping it over, which is kind of interesting to talk about. But like the basic concept is for an artist is not what are like the top 5 things I should be doing right now? Like that's the way that our brains always want to think. What are the top 5 things I should do right now today to make my business better? And instead you want to invert that and say, no, what is like one thing that you shouldn't do? Like that will absolutely result in failure or the lowest sales and frustration and pain. This is what we're talking about. So if you invert it, we're telling you what that one thing is. Missing the biggest art selling times of the year, like the spring art selling season when the buyers are pulling out their wallets. Doesn't matter what else you do, those other 5 things, because if you're missing this, it's almost like multiplying by 0. It's like all of your results are just going to multiply by 0 or a really low number. And so here we are 7 days away from the spring art selling season beginning, and it's already begun. It's already begun. It's begun everywhere. It's begun everywhere. Yeah. So like this is just a super exciting time, I love it.
So great question. So Crystal, the way that we typically structure things is, one, we teach our customers to have a range of pricing, which is almost more important than the pricing itself. I have an incredible guide on this, by the way, for anyone that's watching on Facebook or Instagram. If you leave a comment on this post with the word pricing, I will send to your DM box the guide. But we normally advocate on the print side of things a 250% markup. And once you do that, you step up your sizes to your limited editions, you step up your sizes to your originals, and your originals go up in price based on having that range of pricing below it, which is awesome. So that's how it goes. And hey, Amber, do you want to switch over to Instagram or Facebook? Because the comments don't work on YouTube. Sadly, I wish they did, but YouTube doesn't let us do that. So if you want me to send you the pricing guide, just hopped over to Facebook or Instagram where this stream is running concurrently. So that's what I would say. But it's a great question, Crystal. And then on the merch, like, you know, you can set whatever margin you want on the merch, but I have a very different vision for the merch. For me, the only thing I care about with the merch is how many customers you guys acquire. Okay. I want you to acquire as many new customers as possible. And I view the merch almost like advertising. Like, unless you are selling really, really high volume, the photo books aside, I mean, I should say we have had some customers that I'm like, they've made like 50 or 60 or 70 or $80,000 selling photo books and or calendars. Like, that's pretty staggering. Right. And I continue to see that. But for most that are going to be doing smaller volume, like, I just want you acquiring these new customers. I want you to acquire a customer with merch. You have their email address, they're on your email list, and they are walking around, ideally with a cell phone case, with your art on it all day long. Because I know what happens when you do that, which is when that person is in the market for wall art, or their friends are in the position to market for wall art. Oh, by the way, have you checked out so-and-so? That's how it goes in the real world. What were you going to share, Nick? Or do I have to put it on the stage?
Put it on the screen. I'll show you. So like, here's an Art Storefront's website for those of you, you know, wondering. So here's one of our customers, William Stidham. And so like, literally the day you sign up, right? Like, you will have all of these media types available. And, you know, you can see like he's offering watercolor paper, canvas, metal, wood, acrylic, and then getting into the merch: hoodies, t-shirts, tank tops, tote bags, throw pillows, phone cases, mugs, puzzles, porcelain ornaments, metal ornaments. There's even more. But because, you know, you as an artist have full control over what you want to offer, you can turn any media type on or off. But watch what happens to the preview over here when I go to like a phone case. Okay. So you can see the your image is instantly rendered on the phone case. And by the way, you as an artist in our backend, you can set how this image looks. So you can see, you know, you can turn it, you can position it. That's the wording I'm looking for. You can position it exactly the way that you want to, so that when it loads on the screen, it's exactly the way that you want it. And then your customer on your website can also manipulate it the way that they want, you know, so that like they can get it the way they might want to have it. Right. So this is like stuff that's unique that you will just not see on any other website platform. And when we talk about, you know, Art Storefronts being just hundreds, if not thousands of features dialed in for selling art specifically, this is what we're talking about here, right? And this is like no effort on your part. This is all just built in, ready to go. So if I come back over here and I go to like a puzzle, let's click on puzzle. You can see here is this piece of art on a puzzle, okay? And the same thing applies. You go down here and you can change the image size, you know, to have the puzzle exactly how you want it, rotate it, and so forth. And then you can see all those puzzle pieces in there. So this is instantly ready to go. So along the lines of what Pat is saying here, you are going to have all of these different capabilities to take advantage of, you know, selling gift items, making easier sales, and all of that. And Pat, I don't know if you've seen this, but all of these have been added into the 360-degree viewer tool. And let's see if I can get this to load right here as the puzzle. I mean, you can see the puzzle in 3D right here. Okay. Turn it around, see the back. I think it's more when there actually is a backing, like on something like, you know, a metal or a canvas, like I'll show canvas here. You can see what your customers are going to be able to do as they're looking to make a decision. So you can see the gallery wrap, how, you know, you've got the nice wire hanging here. They can increase the size and get a full idea of what it's going to look like. Take a screenshot, send it to their spouse or other decision maker, add it right to their cart, you know, throw it in a wall preview, you know, match your paint color. These paint colors are the top selling paint colors by the paint manufacturers, Benjamin Moore and Sherwin-Williams. So this way your visitors have a way of like instantly seeing how this would look with their wall color or in different room settings, for example. This is all there to just get people to their desired outcome and convert the maximum number of people into buyers, right? That come to your website. Because Pat, as you know, like, as we all know, marketing is the most important thing that you can do as an artist. You got to get eyeballs on your art. And when you get people to your website, a precious visitor to your website, you want to convert as many of them as possible, right? Whether they buy a phone case or whether they buy an art. If they buy a phone case, they are a future art customer, you
100%.
know?
100%. It is a profundity, and we're going to need to lecture on it more. Yeah, K of Art, we use different names sometimes when we email. Everyone does in marketing land. It's just sort of what you do if you have a company. But understand this, any of you guys that are on our email list, we are replying to every single solitary reply we get. If you have a question, okay, and you want some clarity on something, or you want to set up a demo, or you want to ask how to follow us on Instagram, anything, all you have to do is reply to any of these emails that we're sending you. And myself, members of my team, we are trying to respond to every single solitary one, because that's what you do, right? What do I tell you guys to do? Handwrite thank you notes to every single solitary buyer. It's the same concept, right? You got to reply to everybody, so to the extent that you guys are on the email list and you have a question, just reply to the email, and myself, someone from my team will follow up. For those of you guys that are just joining, we're generally talking about merchandise, the spring selling season, and of course, taking your questions live, because that's what we do. So if you have a question, art marketing related of any capacity, anything that we do at Art Storefronts, all you have to do is leave a comment on Instagram, on YouTube, on Twitter, on Facebook, and we are more than happy to answer directly. So that is the ball game. So you can just leave a comment and we will go right into it. But yep, we essentially go through all of these cycles every single solitary year as a company, where we try to get you guys marketing, and we try to explain to you guys why you need to market. And spring season is another one of them. These things come up. They're very, very important holidays, and you need to have a sail in the water to take advantage. Like, say what you will about Amazon, but it's one of the biggest companies in the world for a reason. Why are they running a sale right now? Because spring is a huge buying time. And one of the things that no one gets taught is like that somehow art and photography sales don't comport and behave like every other type of freaking sale or promotion in the world. They do. It's just commerce. So there are certain times when there is wind at your back, okay? And there's certain times when there are headwinds. There are headwinds when no other promotions are being done by anyone, okay? There's wind at your back when a bunch of these other merchants, i.e. Amazon, are spending a ton of time, okay, on advertising. And so when these times come up, if we are smart, it's important that we also run sales, okay, doing the exact same thing at the exact same time. So that's just a really, really important thing to know. And Chuck, if you left a comment pricing, what I do is I send it directly to your Instagram inbox. So it's already there. So you can get off this broadcast at any point in time, and you'll be able to find it in just a second. Yeah, so that's the ball game. But who else, guys? Comments, questions, concerns, can be anything about anything as we're kicking off for Friday morning. Anytime you see us live on any of these platforms and you have questions, okay, all you got to do is ask. We pride ourselves on not being the smartest guys in the room, but at least being super available so you can ask any and all questions you might have, okay? Important part of this whole thing. How much does it cost artists, and how do you ensure that our art will sell well? Do you know what's funny is I think currently, Julia, that the artists that make it are the ones that just stick to their marketing, and it's almost independent of what their work is and the quality of their work, because I see it time and time again. I would love to tell you that the world that we live in is a meritocracy based on the quality of the art, i.e. the best art wins, sells the best. It's not. It's not. The world we live in today, because there are so many artists and photographers creating things, it is a meritocracy early on who stays consistent with their marketing, because all artists, all photographers treat their marketing like a New Year's resolution. This is going to be my year. I'm going to finally take my art business serious. I'm going to take it to the next level. And so in January, it's like signing up for the gym, right? You sign up for the gym in January, you're going 4 days a week, you're starting to get fit, life happens, things get difficult, March rolls around, you haven't been once. Rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. So it's less about ensuring that your art will sell. I know, Julia, that if I can keep you marketing consistently all year long, you'll win. And that's it. So that's like the ball game. That's why we teach everything that we teach. We've been at this for a number of years now. And we've seen it, right? It's like, You know, customers are on here, they'll tell you, like, we have to keep encouraging you guys to market consistently all year long, because that is what the meritocracy is on. That is what is directly predictive of the revenue potential of a business. That's it. That's it. And Marzetta, yeah, t-shirts are great. T-shirts are absolutely fantastic. Another great merch item to sell. Like, you guys, the fact that POD exists like it does right now, POD stands for print on demand, is insane. Okay. I used to own a clothing company. If I wanted to do t-shirts, okay, I would have to do minimums of hundreds in the various different sizes to get my price down to a price point, okay, that was acceptable because of enough volume to spin the machine up and do setup and everything else. Now they have DTG printers, direct to garment printers, meaning you can print one t-shirt and then go try and sell it and see how you did, right? If it was a dud, you have one t-shirt you have to wear, okay? Back in the day, if I made a shirt that was a dud, I'd have hundreds of them that I would have to give away or figure out what to do, right? So DTG is an amazing advancement, and these things need to be taken advantage of, right? It needs to be taken advantage of. Marzetta, there is no way to market everything quickly. There is no quickly in this business at all. There is sustained suffering that comes from consistent and regular marketing, week in, week out. It isn't sexy. It isn't fun at first. It gets more fun, but that's the ball game. You know, Instagram's the most important platform. It's a giant visual search engine. So of course, what you guys create, beautiful visual creations. So that's the one that needs all of the attention. But that's what I would say. Like, you know, leverage merch. You got to leverage merch. It's just so powerful. Like, you know, I need to get like one of these little cameras. Are you hearing this, art storefronts? I need a camera that will allow me to draw on a whiteboard and be able to show this on it. But where merch comes into the picture, just as, you know, flogging a dead horse here, so to speak, but the average artist or photographer, if they do not have the range of pricing and if they do not have merch in their lineup, is only going to acquire 5 to 7 to 15 to 20 customers a year. Okay. That means year one, you're going to have 20 customers. Year two, you're going to have 40 customers. Year three, you're going to have 80 customers. So at the end of 3 years of marketing as an artist, if you do not have your pricing and lineup set up correctly, you've got 80 customers that you can market to. That is 80 email addresses of folks that have come and purchased from you once that you can ideally get back. If an artist or a photographer or creative takes care of their lineup and has the proper range of pricing and has merchandise in it, you are more than likely to sell 50 to 100 year one. Let's just say 100. And let's say you double it again year two, that's 200. And then you double it again year three, that's 400. So after 3 years of trying to grow the business, artist A has 80 customers, okay? Artist B has 400, right? And let's say that 10% of those folks are going to come back and buy again. So artist A is going to have 8 customers come back and buy again. Artist B is going to have 40. And that's how you have a business. That's how you have a business. And why is no one teaching that? Why is no one talking about that? It's just a profundity. Your guys' job is to constantly be focused on how many new customers are you acquiring per year. And it is a very difficult thing to do at volume when you're just selling high-end pieces, when you don't have a range of pricing, when you don't have merchandise that is a low commitment, low friction, spur of the moment. Ooh, serendipitous. Why not? I'll buy a couple of these. Boom, you just acquired a customer. It's why we encourage people to do the shows and fairs all the time, right? Because when you do a show and a fair, you have the opportunity to acquire 50, 60, 70, 80, 100 customers in one weekend if you've got merch, right? I mean, you can sell stickers if you have to. As long as you get an email address, you have acquired a customer that is now walking around with your stickers stuck on their garage refrigerator and everywhere else. So it's very, very, very important business lessons that 1000% apply to every single solitary artist and photographer, creative out there. And once you bolt these things into your business starts growing. What an incredible surprise. The guy, the gal that buys a cell phone case today comes back in 2 years and buys a $12,000 original. You do not acquire that customer in the first place if they are not walking around for the next 3 years with your art on the back of their cell phone. They are not coming back to you to buy the original because they forgot about you. They got distracted. They're watching cat videos. That's how it goes. That's how it goes in the real world. It's just that simple. All right, guys, good session for Friday morning. appreciate all of you. Anytime you see me live, any and all questions being answered, myself, Nick, our CEO, I run the marketing department here. My name is Patrick, very friendly. Ask any question. Okay, you guys, of course, come with the questions at the very, very end, right? Amazing. So, Kay, I see your question. Chuck, I see your question. I'm just going to put them up on the screen so everyone else can see them, and then I can address them one by one. Okay, here it is. So Kay's asking, if I joined art storefronts and I wanted to sell my art on throw cases and t-shirts, etc., does your company make it and ship it to the customers? Yep, we sure do. The order comes in, okay, you get paid, the printer gets paid, the printer prints it, the printer boxes it, the printer ships it, our system sends all the emails. You don't have to lift the finger, you don't have to be in this country, you can be anywhere. That's the beautiful thing about print on demand. Like, all of that nonsense the artist or photographer used to have to deal with. Now you don't have to deal with any of it. So yes, Kay, the minute you sign up, all of that is done. It's all ready. All you got to do is flip a switch, upload your art, flip a switch, and you're off and selling all of the above. All right, so Chuck, let me get your question in here. All right, where's Chuck? Okay. I've been stumped on coming up with what I can paint for new prints. Need to add more to the option. Should I ask the public to decide on and start? Yeah, 100% you should. Always ask the public. That's such an important an important feedback mechanism, is like always be getting feedback on what to do next, right? Like I love these Instagram stories where you can say, hey guys, what should I paint next? A or B, right? And you let people vote. Instagram has this ability to vote if you put 2 images up, but you can do that in a Facebook post. You can do that on your email list. Like, hey guys, I was contemplating a new direction. Can I just ask you something? Can I just share 2 images with you and you just vote? Like all you're asking your people to do is just vote. Do you know how powerful that is? People love voting. All right, let me look at those images. Okay, yeah. No, Chuck, do this one, right? No, do that one. And then you tally up the votes and you're like, boom, maybe I'm onto something here, right? So I love that concept. And I think that's a fantastic way to, just approach things. And yeah, fine. Psychedelic surrealism, like psychedelics are having a massive renaissance in this country right now. Ton of people are talking about it. Ton of people are forming communities around it. They're showing all sorts of connections to improved mental health and how many things it can solve. So it's a strong niche. It's a strong niche. Although to be honest with you, all the psychedelic art looks the same to me. Who's to say what everyone's individual trip looks like? But anyway, there's a huge community behind it, and I do think it's a good niche, right? There's so many different good niches out there. But I appreciate all of you guys coming, hanging out with me on a Friday morning. I hope you all have a wonderful Friday. You have a wonderful weekend, and contemplate merch, contemplate pricing, and contemplate doing some in-person events. You guys, spring has sprung, and it is a great time to be selling. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you on the next one.